Pastor David asked about our reactions to the terrorists. And the first thing that came to my mind was my nephew Dan, who was 10 at the time, saying to his dad, "Hey, I learned some new words today, hijacker and terrorist." And my niece Faith, who was 6 at the time, asked her mom about the terrorists. "Mommy, did they know my daddy? Didn't they know I'd be sad?" They knew a lot of little girls and boys would be sad. My cousin Kim had the reaction that most of us had. How could anyone do this to someone else? What? It's incomprehensible. I don't understand. I don't get it. My husband was angry at God for many years afterwards, in part because people kept saying that God allowed this because there were lessons for us to learn. But God didn't allow this. The terrorists didn't ask permission, and God didn't give his blessing. What God allowed was us to have free will, but they chose evil. And I've really only ever blamed those specific terrorists because, you know, there are extremists in every group we devise. Blaming groups gets us nowhere. The head terrorist, Osama bin Laden, is dead now. And I can't help but think how different things would be if somewhere along the line he'd had a road to Damascus like Paul did. So how has September 11th continued to affect us? It's triggered a lot of things. Nancy and Dan and Lydia no longer live in New York City. A couple marriages ended and one was born out of the shared experience. 2 kids have been battling severe depression, and we are bound and determined that the terrorists are not going to win on that front. 2 Robert namesakes have been born. I personally am much more aware and appreciative of what the military is doing, particularly in Iraq and Afghanistan, because they're there for me. Of course, life isn't the same without Bob. He was the life of the party. And as much as we keep trying to keep his spirit alive, there's still that hole. And what would I say to you, the Christian church? I would say put aside your differences. Let's stand up for Jesus as his united family. The prayers we offer represent our belief and faith that God can heal the multitude of wounds in this world. And God's love and power are available to us every moment and every day, in the good, the bad, and the ugly. All we have to do is ask. God has promised that he can use all things, the good, the bad, and the very, very ugly, for his good purposes. Did you know that the section of the Pentagon that was hit had just been remodeled? And as part of that remodel, they had removed a chapel. Then, when they rebuilt the Pentagon, they put that chapel back in as a memorial to the victims. And my prayer is that that space would be used to seek Jesus. And I'm hoping that each of us would be willing to share Jesus with others.